What is up, everybody? Jim and I are once again joined by Mr. Jerry Miculek, the fastest gun in the West. No, maybe the fastest gun in the South. Louisiana boy.
Louisiana guy, yeah.
Yeah, even better.
All good stuff.
We talk a lot about, technique and how to and stuff like that, but it's always fun to talk about the gear.
Why not?
The gear. The gear makes the shooter, right, Jerry?
Always. Just buy a good gun, you're right there, brother. Just takes a few bucks and you're right there.
If we've learned anything from Jerry, I'm glad it was that.
It's not the millions of rounds downrange.
No.
It's the gear.
No, always.
But it is fun to talk about gear. You have right here, this is your race gun.
Right. My open division.
Walk us through it.
Okay, this is an open division 3-gun. It's the new Performance Center. It's the M&P 9 Performance Center 2.0.
From Smith & Wesson.
What makes it a 2.0?
They have the frame.
Okay.
They changed some of the actual dimensions of the frame. The pins that hold the action in, the action parts are different. The slide release is different. The magazine release is different. The Performance Center one has a trigger over travel. Comes stock with the frame.
So it's not a new color then.
Not a new color. Yeah, they've done a lot of stuff. The M&P was a great gun. This one they made better trigger.
Okay.
They made it have a better trigger.
What describe what's better about it?
They actually changed the lever point on the sear with the trigger bow.
Okay.
So the trigger pull is enhanced. It's a little lighter, more consistent than the other guns. The durability is the same. I would think one of the big changes also would be the texturing on the frame is more aggressive.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
So the other frame had a longer tang in the back. They shortened that up. It comes with 4 grip adapters now. I think the other ones had 3.
Mm-hmm.
So I added this aftermarket magwell to it, and I added 2 extra ports to the barrel. I sent it to Magnaport, so it has 4 ports instead of the 2 from the factory.
Okay.
So I get to play with a little bit of that. I put a Timney trigger in it, and I have the Vortex Venom red dot on it. The way the gun comes from the factory, it's cut for an optic, and it comes with, I think, 5 adapter plates. So it fits like 7 different models and makes of optics.
Yeah.
So,
There's no standard in the pistol optics yet, so they kind of give you something that'll fit just about everything.
Yeah, it's a baggie with their bolts and plates to fit. It comes with higher sights for those optics that'll let you co-witness. It's just I leave this on there so I can drag it on the host. I don't use them. It's just something to get in the way.
Okay.
But the gun is great. They also have an enhancement on the frame where there's a steel insert in the dust cover here for the flashlight.
Oh, okay, sure.
So the frame is more rigid. It's just this one has a tungsten guide rod in it.
What's the tungsten guide rod do?
Gives it a little muzzle weight.
Okay.
Puts a little more weight forward.
Yeah. I used to run on the other gun, I'd run a flashlight on it just as a counterweight to keep the muzzle rise down.
Okay, just keeps it shooting flat there.
Yeah, the open guns are not limited to texture change on the grip and the weight of the gun to a certain point. The magazines have to be 170 millimeter. So this magazine is a standard M&P with I call it a boot. It's an extension. This one's made by Taylor Freelance. Takes 27 rounds. So it's a 28-round pistol if I want to do that. Yeah, it's been super reliable. The M&P series, one thing, I know there's a lot of 1911 guys out there, and I like 1911s, but the new generation of polymer guns are so great.
Okay.
They are.
I mean, don't do anything. You just shoot them. I mean, you
don't have to hand fit stuff, polish stuff.
No,
it just kind of is what it is.
It's ugly. No, if you're a dyed-in-the-wool, old blued steel pistol guy, you look at these things and it looks like a Tupperware thing. But it's so advanced in its durability and its application to the target. And the magazines are so good. That's what hampered 1911s for a long time. So I'm gonna preach about magazines.
Please do.
This is the heart and soul of any pistol system. And these magazines I have shot these for, I think I've changed springs out in them now probably 5 times.
It doesn't look new.
Not many people get to the point where they're even changing springs in their magazines one time. And Jerry's done it 5.
But this is like almost original to the gun, to the previous M&P, and I shot it for years and years. So I probably have about 10 years worth of use on these mags. So I trained with them, I shoot them in matches, and I never had to change a mag body.
Wow.
That's incredible.
You know, so to me, and they work. The magazine is the heart and soul of a gun. I'm gonna say that again. If you don't have a good magazine, the rest of this is just dressing. You can just this has to be there. And a striker fired gun, I never thought. I'm old school. You know, with dial phones and what have you. 1911s were cool, but the striker fired feature of these handguns make them so simple that it's hard to mess them up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And another big advancement, and I'll say this anytime to any 1911 guy that ever shot a 1911, that external extractor is a blessing.
It is.
It's like maintenance free. And a 1911 guy, they have to buy these very expensive aftermarket, or you're always checking the tension on your extractor. It's the weak link of a 1911 is the extractor. But it's also as important as a good magazine is a good extractor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because if this don't get the bullet out of the gun, the next one's not going to go in.
Yeah, you got to get one in, and you got to get it out of there when it's not needed
Yeah,
anymore.
so the extractor is external extractors. Even Browning went to them on their Browning high power. Original ones had an internal, and the later ones had an external. This is external extractor, and if you had to do any maintenance on it, you just knock a pin out and change the spring.
That easy.
Yeah.
So Jerry, we brought up that this is your race gun. You're in the open division.
Yep.
Open division. There's multiple divisions. Some of them have rules around what you can have on your guns, what you can use to try and sort of level the playing field, so to speak. In open, it's a little bit more of anything goes.
It is. Yep.
Now, a lot of guys in open divisions nowadays, and you kind of have talked about 1911s. A lot of guys will be going to these 2011s, which is the double stack kind of 1911.
Right.
And you haven't gone that route. And that's just because of all the reasons you kind of mentioned here. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. This is working just fine. Why go fancier? Or
Now you brought that topic up about like 2011s.
yeah.
So most guys who shoot the big guns, the double stacks like that, it has a frame-mounted optic.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so what that means is that fit to that slide to the frame has to be as accurate as the fit to the barrel to the slide.
Yes.
Because the frame is looking here and the slide is looking somewhere else.
Didn't think about that.
And they have to be fitted as precisely as the barrel is fitted to the slide. So when you put the optic on here, you've negated that frame fit. So when this thing is closed, this doesn't matter.
Sure, the little wobble in there.
Right.
The little, yeah.
So if my sight was on the frame, that would be huge dispersion.
Yeah.
At 20 yards, 25 yards. But on this, it doesn't matter at all.
Unless you paid a boatload of money to get some absolute perfect, just precise, crazy thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're looking at a top price on a race gun would be $5,000, $4,500, and you can get into an M&P a lot cheaper than that.
Yeah.
And you can usually I kind of equate. I'm old school with spending money. I'm probably the tightest guy you ever met. People know that, but I kind of equate. If I had a barnyard to walk through and it's muddy, and I had $10 pair of rubber boots and it got me there, and my feet are dry, and I put on a $600 cowboy boots and I walked through that mud, what did I accomplish? I got mud on both of them.
And you got to the other side.
I got to the other side. So with this, I can get to the other side.
Okay.
With a lot cheaper. I could have a backup gun for the price. I could probably have 3 guns set up, ready to roll for same price.
So 3 guns is better than 1 gun.
Everything has a price point with me, is what I'm saying, for its performance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if I found something lacking, I'd have to find something better. But I hadn't gotten there yet.
Mm-hmm.
And this solves what I need to do in 3 gun. It gets everything done. They just what can I say? They're very easy to maintain.
Mm-hmm. Well, so, Jerry, maybe with just a little bit more shooting, you still might get there. Yeah, right?
I know. I'm still learning. The old dog and the trick thing, it's starting to happen to me now. But no, but
not an old dog yet.
Yeah, the polymer guns, and haven't done a lot of military classes. Back when they had 1911 style pistols, when they went to polymer, man, the malfunction just magically went away, and these were $high guns too. So
interesting.
Yeah.
That flared magwell.
Yep.
What's that giving you?
Giving you you can have less accuracy on a reload.
Okay.
And still get it done.
It's kind of like a funnel.
Yeah, it's a funnel. So you can have
Jinx mark.
Yeah, it is. Yep, it's a funnel. And some of the guys run bigger ones than this. One thing about 3 gun is you're not going to do too many reloads on the clock. If you're shooting USPSA, that would be a different parameter of what kind of gun is going to win that division. But in 3-gun, if you're going to do a reload, you're probably going to be on the run somewhere where you have a little bit of time to make it happen. So the position of my ammunition is not that critical on a belt like it would be if I just went to a pistol match. You'd have to really have your mag pouches, perfectly aligned. But in 3-gun, I have so much equipment on, my mag pouches are straight up and down because I'm not going to really be doing much reload on the clock.
Okay.
So the way I set up my equipment is for that.
Mm-hmm.
So this fits that parameter really, really good.
What about, so you brought up, striker fired pistol, pretty common.
Yep.
I guess how does that work and how is that different than maybe, other systems?
The simplicity of it.
Okay.
The maintenance part. Hammer and sear is gone.
Okay.
You just have a sear that'll trip a striker.
Huh.
It's super easy.
You don't have a manual safety to mess around with.
Yeah, that's just to me. Manual safeties get in the way. You can get them either way. If you want a manual safety.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, this frame is actually cut for it. So if you wanted to have a manual safety, you can.
Okay.
Some people like manual safeties. To me, I don't see the reason for it in my application, so I don't use it. It's just more to get in the way. Mm-hmm. Most guys that run 1911s, the grip safety is deactivated anyway.
Right.
Okay.
It's a big hassle, so they just deactivate them.
Yeah. The trigger on here, you said that this one, so you got yourself a Tibney trigger in here.
Yeah,
Obviously, you're just going to have a lighter, kind of more racy trigger in this sense.
Yep.
You said there was an over travel thing on here. I
Yeah.
actually wasn't aware of that. What's that doing for you? I didn't realize that triggers would ordinarily otherwise over travel.
Right. So what this feature does, the over travel screw, is when the trigger releases the striker, it's only going to travel a limited distance and not all the way to the back of the frame.
Oh.
So when I'm pulling,
there's no reason to pull it any further beyond.
Not really.
Okay.
Because it shortens the trigger pull.
Okay.
So without it, you could. I'm empty here. I kind of give you an idea. If you watch the trigger here when it strikes out, and it moves maybe 40,000, 50,000ths of an inch, where with the trigger stop, it would go another 40, 50,000ths.
Oh, it's a time saver.
Yeah, it's a time saver. There's no reason for it to keep moving. Duty guns have that because they're duty guns. We make them into race guns, so we want to race. We want to have all the bells and whistles to make it easier to shoot under pressure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Plus, if you do something on a race gun and you happen to tune it wrong or you get a malfunction, you know, that stage didn't go well. It's not.
Yep.
My life's in danger now.
Right. So that's the difference between duty guns and play guns. Mm-hmm. I can get away with a lot because all I have to do here is shoot the next stage. If it's a duty gun, you do something wrong. The gun's not functioning right. And what competition shooters are very guilty of, they'll take a perfectly good gun and make it unreliable. And that's true. But you put so much stuff on it that the gun's not reliable.
Yep.
So. You see a lot of that in matches. They have so many bells and whistles on it that really doesn't apply anything to the performance, and it actually hinders the gun.
Gotcha.
So simple, 100% reliability, and that's what I'm looking for in all three of my 3-gun firearms. Is they might not be the most trick, but at the end of the day, I don't want a malfunction out of any of them.
Sure.
Yeah. Right. One thing, you're talking about making mods, and this is your race gun. But one thing you mentioned yesterday that actually made a lot of sense to me. Like you said, you got that ported, and then you had an extra port put in or whatever.
Yep. That
was something like, well, why wouldn't I want that on my EDC?
Right. Yeah, I'm a port guy. That's something I've always came to. I look at stuff very practical. So if I if I look coat hangers and welding.
That's right.
So if I went to a competition and I tried to shoot this in the limited class or stock, they would say, "No, Jerry, this porting helps you too much and you can't use it there." So I'd go, "Okay, I'm not going to use it there." So I go home and I take my everyday carry out and it's not ported. So why would I not have all the advantages and cheat as much as I can, make this gun as easy as I can possibly make it, in the most stressful time of my life, hopefully I'll never encounter? Why would I not want this on this gun?
And those don't affect reliability in any way?
No.
Then there's no reason I can think of, Jerry.
But tactical guys will say no.
Really?
Yeah. And I've never been in a firefight. I don't claim to be a warrior. I'm not a warrior. I'm just a guy that plays and have fun. But I just kind of look at equating things, applications, and so I'm in the most stressed time of my life. I don't want this gun to shoot easy. I don't know. So I go, well, I don't know. I'm not a tactical guy. I'm just a gamer, I just have fun. But I kind of equate things to application. I go like, why wouldn't I want this thing ported? So we went out, we did some night shooting. Mm-hmm. That's one of the big things they tell you it's going to do. It's going to destroy your night vision.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
So I loaded a 10 millimeter wide open with the incorrect powder, the most flashy propellant I could find. I mean, it's like a light bulb went off. The old camera probably had, and I'm shooting this thing and I'm hitting targets and I'm ringing. I'm going like, okay, my night vision didn't disappear. Then I put the correct ammunition. Like all current handgun ammunition has a flash suppressant in it.
Okay.
So when you shoot, you might get a little light red glow, but it's nowhere near hampering my ability to. I could see if I was standing out in the field shooting and I have this big flash thing going on and there's other people trying to snipe me, that would be a disadvantage. But the practical side is going to be a very short encounter, minimum rounds exchanged, and nobody else but one opponent.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's more than that, I'm probably going to be on the losing side, no matter if I had a 50 BMG or a semi-automatic or whatever. It doesn't make any difference. You're going to be gone. So to me, the practical application is short duration, high intensity, better to give than it is to receive. And I want my gun set up to be as trick as I can and still have it 100% reliable and get the job done. Least amount of input from me. Because I'm not going to really be there mentally. You're going to be reacting. You're not going to really have time to think. It's like you have to perform or you're not going to be there. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I would like to have a tactical guy explain that in better terms, because I'm not in that realm of reality. I'm just a noisemaker having fun.
Well, if somebody in the comments is, enlighten Jerry Miculek if you wish.
No, I'm open for all debate. I'm a pretty simple guy. I just have fun. I'm not a big bad operator. I've been around big bad operators. I know the difference.
I believe that. I believe that. I'm gonna ask. Maybe we'll finish on. Maybe we're done. Maybe we're not done. I don't know. Maybe you think.
What do you got? Wait,
I was gonna say. So you got an optic on there. Surprise,
that was the only
surprise.
thing
I'm gonna talk about the optic.
That was the only thing I had left.
Pistol dots or kind of this style of dot, various sizes.
Right.
Small dot, big dot.
Yep.
What's when you're putting it on a pistol? What are you going with?
I like the larger size dots for action shooting.
Okay.
And I've shot the smaller ones for more precision stuff where I have a lot of time.
Okay.
But what I find is usually the bigger the dot in different lighting situations offer a level of brightness that'll carry you through that moment. Mm-hmm. You have a really highlighted, say like a white target with the sun hitting it, and you get it is really bright white, and you come into it with a small dot, it'll kind of wash it out, where the bigger dot gives you some reference.
Okay.
So it's just like a light bulb kind of a thing, the brighter light, so you can get the job done.
Makes sense. So you got, in this case, there's a Venom on here, a Venom red dot, a little open top style red dot. You got that with a 6 MOA dot instead of the 3, I'm guessing?
Yep.
Okay. And then, using those open top style ones.
Yep.
Those work well.
Battery change. One thing as being a mechanic and having taken down equipment before in the past, I always put a witness mark on everything.
Okay.
So you know if it's loosened?
Yeah. So if you look at mine, you see I have a witness mark on the screws and the battery cap.
Oh yeah.
I have it on most of my scope bases. Anything that might work loose, I just take a mark and put a witness mark on it. So if I'm on the line getting ready to shoot and I'm doing my check, checking my magazines, I'm looking at my scope. They give me the command to load. I look at my witness marks, check the brightness, make sure I have all the equipment on, load it, put it in the holster. It's just kind of, to me, it's another part of a checklist that makes my performance repeatable. Because I have found in the past something loose, and I'm going like, shouldn't find this on the line.
Right.
I want to find it. And being a mechanic, if you're a good mechanic, you're always looking for things being wrong. It has to prove itself right.
Gotcha.
You always want to have that ability to look at something and say, this is wrong. And say, nope, everything's good and tight. Well, magazine follow is good. Yep, it's good to go.
Yeah, well, like with those witness marks, then you don't have to wonder. You're like, well, it should be good.
Should be, don't win a match.
Right.
So that's why we
I should have hit all those targets in less time than I won.
That's why you drop check all your ammunition. You look at each round before you load it. You just do that because you want 100%. When you got a small time span to work in, you don't want to be, hey, look, I got a bad round of ammo. I should have called this it's a bad reload. The bullet's not seated right, or the brass too long, or the primer's sticking up. So you have gauges, you gauge everything, check everything. You don't want any surprises on the line. You want to have it surprised maybe back in the hotel or back somewhere else where you're checking your equipment. So anyway, consistency wins.
Makes sense to me.
Don't have to be the flash, but it has to be 100%. And one thing I do with my carry guns, by the way, when I get a new gun, I'll take it. The one thing you should always do with a new gun is clean it. Take it apart, pull the barrel out, clean it, take all the lube that came with, and put whatever your preference we think might be your preference, and then throw it in the freezer. Load the mag.
Oh, I didn't see that going there at all. I thought we were going Wait, what?
Throw it in the freezer. I take my magazine and a pistol, and I'll just put it in the freezer. Luckily, I live out in the country where I can go out and shoot it when it's still frozen.
Right.
So whatever the temperature of the freezer might be, 0 degrees or whatever. Anyway, freeze it, throw it in there. I'll take it, load it up, step out in the backyard. I have a bullet trap right there, and I'll shoot it in my weak hand, unsupported. Boom, 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 and make it run the whole mag with a bad wrist lock.
Right, because we were talking about that actually kind of like with an unrelated thing, but what is that bad wrist lock going to potentially showcase in a firearm?
Floppy wrist.
Yeah, it's going to showcase. This is going to work with bad technique under bad weather conditions.
Okay.
So no condition I'm going to go to it in a competition or in real life that I won't be able to simulate in that freezer. Because in Louisiana, I'll tell you what happened to me. I'm from Louisiana. It's like 100 degrees all the time. I went to a match in Phoenix. It actually snowed on me. The 3-gun match. Superstition Mountain 3-gun.
Yeah. 2
of my guns quit working.
Yeah. Is that when you started freezing your guns?
Yeah. So I didn't have. I was freezing myself because I didn't have enough clothes. This snow is and I'm trying to shoot and my AR quit. This was 20-something years ago, and then my pistol quit. It wasn't an M&P at the time. It quit. So I'm going, what is all this? So I got back home. I started going through lubrication techniques, weather changes, and ammunition choices, powder choices, and so it has to function hot. In hot weather, anything works. You can get a little bit more velocity usually. Most powders do that. And when they're cold, they're usually less pressure. So I started going through my equipment and make it run in that environment. And I carry gun the same way, and I feel comfortable. Then I'll take the gun and strip it down and prep it and re-lube it and put it for everyday carry. I'm ready to go. So I don't trust anything anymore.
When I
don't seem that way.
I know we're over time again. Surprise, surprise. But one thing, looking at your race gun, Jerry, at least when I look at it, I don't see anything that's like wildly outside of what a carry gun. Yeah, it's not too. I guess it doesn't appear too different to me. Like,
no, I've seen some way wackier looking race guns.
Yeah. So what? Like, I mean. It's almost like you could that could be a carry gun. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just it's 100% reliable.
Yeah.
I don't want to go. I don't for 3-gun. I don't need anything more than that. If I was shooting in a pistol only match, I might have to tailor it.
Okay.
Because that next level is going to be there. But in multi-gun, it's not that important to me. The reliability of this setup, it carries me through the moment because I have 2 other platforms to usually shoot along with this.
Yep.
So I'm really happy with the setup. It does what I need to do when I need to do it.
Sounds like a lot of what you would need with a carry gun, too.
Just like that.
Awesome. I'm out of questions, Jim. Shockingly.
Good stuff, Jerry. Thank you very much.
Oh,
Appreciate you running through this with us. If you have any questions about Jerry's setup, definitely drop them in the comments, and we'll see if we can answer those for you. But otherwise, catch you guys on the next one.
Catch you on the next one. Thanks, Jerry.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome.
Always fun.
Fun stuff.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.